We are rid of an agent who was no longer useful. The stories of his death, he was a British subject, as you know, will underline the decadence of a society that uses drugs. He looked meaningfully at the plate of pastry. Shevchenko nodded his head, and Labutkin reached for the plate. I wish you'd stop playing the international spy, Stefan. You're not cut out for it. Your genes aren't right. Keep things simple. It's bad enough when our friends on the other side play spy games and get things so messed up we can't do our work. Keep it simple and keep it cheap. I have enough trouble now with the people who dole out the money. The clear blue eyes focused on Labutkin. Now the other matter, Stefan. The one that none of us could keep simple. The submarine captain reported that he carried out his orders. He sent the coordinates of the area on the ocean bottom where his target is resting. The water there is very deep. 13,000 feet, comrade. Shevchenko bit into a Napoleon and wiped the creamy filling from his lips with a Kleenex he took from a box that stood on his desk. The submarine captain is on his way here? Yes, sir. All that information is in the morning folder that I brought in with the newspaper, sir. His voice held the faintest tinge of reproach that his chief had chosen to read the New York Times before he looked in the folder Labutkin prepared for him each morning. Our leaders have done some stupid things in the past, Shevchenko growled, but this is one of the more stupid. Those damned admirals get their hands on a new weapon, and they can't rest until they've tried it out under what they like to call combat conditions. Never forget one thing, little Stefan. If you give a man a target pistol as a gift, he won't rest until he has found a target to fire at. Testing weapons makes noise, and noise disturbs the status quo. A target that is now deep under the sea isn't likely to make much noise, sir. Labutkin smiled slyly. Don't underestimate the Americans. That windbag they call a Secretary of State could probably fill his lungs and dive to the deepest part of the ocean and find their missing submarine. Now take this down. I want you to schedule a meeting for tomorrow afternoon, as soon as possible after the arrival of the submarine captain. I want the meeting to be held here, and I want the submarine captain and Admiral Zurov and his aides to be there. Also old Platovsky. He may be getting a little senile, but he's still a power in the Politburo, and he was against this operation from the start. If you have any trouble getting him, let me know and I'll take care of it. I want him there to maybe throw a little scare into the admirals. And what that woman we have, the expert in American affairs, the one with the big bosoms, tell her I want her there as an observer. Looking at her might make the meeting bearable. I agree, sir. The lady is handsome. At Shevchenko's nod, he placed a Napoleon on a square of Kleenex and carried it into his office. Shevchenko broke the seal on the folder with a thick thumb and let its contents spill out onto his desk. That Joe Namath, he muttered as he pushed the New York Times to one side. He lives as we would all like to live. Do your job spectacularly and romp with beautiful women in your off time. Which reminds me. He punched a button on his desk and Labutkin's head appeared around the edge of the doorway between their offices. Send a message to Fidel. I want 2 tickets for the Super Bowl game, good seats, as soon as they are available. I want transport from Havana to Miami, and I don't want to come ashore through a mangrove swamp in the Florida Keys. Tell them to route me through Mexico City to Miami and return the same route. I want a good hotel on Miami Beach, a suite, for 3 nights. Isn't it a little soon, sir? If I remember, that game is played late in January. I know when it's played. Fidel is like all our sacred Cuban brothers. He's completely disorganized. Labutkin nodded. Shevchenko began to read the report from the submarine captain who had torpedoed and sunk the USS Sharkfin. Vice Admiral Michael P. Brannon, Commander, Submarines Atlantic, turned at the door of his quarters and used his bulk to shield his wife from the wind. You'd better get inside, Gloria. The wind is cold. I'll try to be home by 1800. If I'm going to be late, I'll phone. He bent and kissed her upturned mouth and went down the steps to the sidewalk, carrying his heavy frame with an erectness that belied his age and the crushing weight of responsibility that went with his job. His driver smiled a greeting as he held open the car door. The driver trotted around the car and settled himself behind the wheel, and the car moved off, the blue pennant with 3 white stars on it that flew from a front fender snapping in the cold morning wind. The outer, or E-ring, of the 4-story Pentagon building is the area where the offices of the nation's defense chiefs and planners are located. The offices are large and comfortably furnished. Depending where in the E-ring an office might be located, a sweeping view of some of the nation's history is visible. The dome of the nation's capital, Old Georgetown, the Lincoln Memorial, or, in summer, the lush greenery along the historic Potomac River. The office suite occupied by Vice Admiral Brannon was luxurious.